voters are present today. We'll go ahead and go to item number 1, which is the establishment of quorum. All members are present today, therefore we do have a quorum. Item number 2 is citizens communication. As those of you, we do have several members of the community here with us today. Those of you who have been here previously, Mr. and Mrs. Baxter especially, and others that have been here who have witnessed when we go through this item, we do want to give the community an opportunity to speak. Obviously, we do have other items that need to be addressed, so we always limit any communication to 3 minutes. So at this time, I guess in an orderly fashion, if anybody would like to address the board today, we can go ahead and go person by person. Just please keep it to a minimum. Like I said, 3 minutes. We do have several other items that need to be discussed, and there might be other people also who want to address the board. So at this time, is there anybody who would like to address the board?
Members, good afternoon. My name is George Baxter. I'm here representing the Maverick County Environmental and Public Health Association. I'd like to make a few comments on agenda item 7, the water rights issue with Dos Republicas Coal Partnership. As you know, the City of Eagle Pass, along with Maverick County Hospital District, and our Environmental Association are currently in litigation against the Railroad Commission in the Third Court of Appeals to try to reverse the decision to grant Dos Republicas a permit to operate. The court recently published a briefing schedule with our initial briefs due on August 22nd. During the Railroad Commission hearings and subsequent appeal in District Court, one of the City of Eagle Pass's key arguments was on the water supply available to the mine, or rather the lack of it. As the city's attorney stated, no water, no mine. Right now, Dos Republicas does not have enough water to operate the mine and is desperate to get more from any source. They're even now attempting to buy treated wastewater from the city of Del Rio, which is a move opposed both by the City of Eagle Pass and in a resolution passed a few days ago by Maverick County Commissioners Court. I'd like to again distribute letters which we've just done that we passed out 2 months ago, I believe, that we obtained from TCEQ regarding the assignment of the 176 acre-feet of water rights from Dos Republicas to the City of Eagle Pass. Now, the first is a 2005 letter from Mr. Chesley Blevins, attorney for Dos Republicas, where he states that, quote, the assignment remains effective until coal mining and reclamation activities have ceased, which of course would be 20 years from now, more or less, because they haven't started coal mining operations. The second is a 2007 letter from TCEQ stating that the 176 acre-feet is available for use for municipal purposes within the service area of Eagle Pass, and that the owner of these water rights is the Eagle Pass Waterworks system. In regard to the 2002 contract itself, the fact that Dos Republicas did not specifically address what would happen to these water rights in the event that Dos Republicas failed to meet the requirements of that contract, that is, failed to construct the water line and failed to begin mining by July 2012, which caused it to lapse at the end of the initial 10-year period. This is not the board's problem. The best statement of Dos Republicas' position is, again, in Mr. Blevins' letter, that the water rights do not revert to Dos Republicas until mining activities have ceased, and even then the city has the option of buying these water rights at that point. As you all know, Dos Republicas is also currently suing Maverick County to try to force the county to issue a floodplain development permit to them to allow coal mining in a FEMA-designated floodplain. In my opinion, an extremely unwise and dangerous operation which threatens the downstream residents of Maverick County along Elm Creek, especially in view of the 2013 and 2014 floods. So, to sum up, Dos Republicas does not appear to be a friend of the county, or I believe to the city either, or the 8,000 citizens who signed the petitions and letters opposing the mine, and the board should not facilitate their mining operation in any way. The board is adjunct to the city and should support the city's position in every possible way and not allow Dos Republicas to divide us. Therefore, I'd ask the board to not return these water rights to Dos Republicas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bankston.
Rudy Rodriguez, on behalf of Dos Republicas, we've got Angelica Montalvo, who's the account payable senior manager, Steve Kirk, who's the North American Coal senior project manager, and Jorge Navarrete, who's the administration's manager here locally. The issues that were just recently brought up by Mr. Baxter is, when it comes to water and the pieces that were discussed through the Railroad Commission hearings, Railroad Commission through permitting process does not require you to show that you have water. It has nothing to do with you obtaining a permit. In order to operate, you have to go over there and have the necessary water. Right, if you have no water, you have no operation. Water rights have been purchased. There are other opportunities to purchase water rights. There is gray water opportunities for this community and other communities in this area. Currently, it's $147.5 million initial capital investment on this project. Staff at Railroad Commission, on the points being made earlier, operations have begun on the mine. There's been a $10.3 million contract awarded for the construction of an office out there. There's been a coal handling facility, approximately $28 million of cost on that component, and a $14 million on another $14 million component of the 147 initial capital investment. All of those pieces that have been discussed, I think, as operations have started, water, I think when we look at what's here before you today, it is something that is administrative from standpoint of a contract, something that staff has already recommended. Attorneys have discussed language, and it's, we're here to ask for, obviously, those water rights to be transferred back. Pieces of litigation and pieces of the permit, Railroad Commission considered all of those pieces. Staff recommended for approval. The executive director went through a hearings process. They recommended for approval. And after going through the hearings examiner of every aspect of every issue, technically on the application that is as long as from here to that wall, and dissected to every line item just about, after the hearings examiner reviewed all those documents, recommended for approval, the Railroad Commission approved that permit. It was appealed to to Darlene Bryan, the District Court in Austin. After reviewing those specific points, you have to be very specific on those points. I was there at those hearings. The points that were made were that the mine operations had not started. Obviously they had. That how was the insurance being paid? That has nothing to do with the Railroad Commission. And pieces of what the U.S. Fish and Wildlife had put documents before and being questioned. Not stuff that we put before, but so all of those things being considered, we've got a permit, we're operating, we're going to be a part of this community. We are part of this community. We're hiring people. It's going to be 250 jobs. It's going to economically benefit this community, and we want to make sure that we participate in this community in every which way that we can. We invite you to go to the mine. We'd love to take a tour to understand what's taking place. From this component, like I said, it's administratively recommended by staff. Attorneys have already agreed to language for those transfer of the water rights. We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Steve Kirk. I am the construction manager for the Eagle Pass mine. I'm very honored to be here. I'm a South Dakota native. I've been coming to Eagle Pass for the past 4.5 years, planning this project, and now I've been living here since November building this project. Very excited to be here. These people in the back heard me speak at the Maverick County Commissioners Court. I've been in mining approximately 40 years. I also spent 28 years in the Garden Reserve and retired as Lieutenant Colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. During that time, I spent about 3 months in Panama building schools, clinics, roads, and we flew in reserve units from all over the United States to do medical missions for the people, helping people. In my mining assignments, I worked in Mongolia in 1994. Just had received democracy. We helped bring their coal mining along. Now Mongolia is a huge coal mining country. Enormously helped that country. In 1996, in 1997, 1998, I spent almost a year in Indonesia, in East Kalimantan and Sumatra, helping to build new coal mines there, developing their coal industry. In December of 1973, I spent my first meal as a married person in Gillette, Wyoming that was 5,000 people. And later moved to Gillette. It's got about 40,000 people. It's got 14 operating mines. It produces about 500 million tons of coal to light all the cities and towns of the United States. We have the opportunity to do that here, and we're doing that here. And we're doing it right, and we're doing it within the laws of the Surface Mining Control Act. We're doing it within the Railroad Commission Act. We've built a sedimentation pond that you can come out and see that's larger than 2 football fields to control water. We're doing these things right. We feel strongly that this is a benefit, and it's going to really help this community. And as I mentioned at the Commissioner's Court, we're helping the people in Mexico also. We're helping the people who today don't have the lights and the air conditioning and the electricity, and we can improve their lives. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. I'm really proud to be here. I'm really proud to be working on this project, and I would appreciate your support.
They're going to provide jobs. Mr. Rodriguez, in several publications, the Statesman in Austin, the Tribune, the Wall Street Journal, has changed his numbers from 250 to 60 to 40 back and forth. Now we know that they have very few employees from here. Their construction company, is from Houston. The Ranger Excavation Company is from Austin, and the coal mining company is from Plano. We don't have people that they're bringing their people in. They have trailers in Mrs. Francis Gray's Park, Ranger Excavation, bringing in their people from out of town, and they're using all the people that they can bring also from Mexico. Now, why aren't we getting those jobs? Now, they say in the future they're going to give it to them. Okay, fine. We have heard from the people in Mexico that once this mine gets established, North American leaves and they're going to bring all their workers from over there and all the people from over there. And we're not going to be getting the jobs that we're being promised. Now, they talk about, we had some people that tried to go and get jobs and came back to us and told us, they say they're not hiring right now because they don't have the permits from TCEQ for the 6,300 plus acres. They only have the one for the 2,000 from 20 years ago. And they don't have the permit from the judge giving them the permit on the floodplain to build 2 huge ponds. You heard Mr. Kirk say how big they were. They're going to be full of poisons, sediment, and they're not designed to hold a flood that holds more than 6 inches of rain at a time. That's one thing we argued over there before the railroad examiner, and they didn't listen to us because they're all being biased towards energy. And we are the people that live here. We are the people that are going to suffer this. We have to open our eyes and be conscious of this. We have seen what they have done, the owners of these mines, what they have done in their country. Over there where they should be providing light for those people, and they should be going over there where they have a lot of resource in coal. They're coming over here to this mine with such inferior coal and then taking it back to Mexico. We feel there's an ulterior motive, but the problem here is also the pollution. We already have all the pollution in Coahuila. We can see it on the overpasses, all that haze. We are breathing it. We are receiving the residue from the coal burning plant that has no filters. For the longest time, it's polluting Big Bend National Park, and they say in the souvenir store there that the pollution comes from Eagle Pass. It comes from where they're burning in Mexico. And it's also polluting the Grand Canyon, and it's also polluting the Davis Observatory. Can you imagine what it's doing to us? And then we're going to have another one over here on this side? Now, the jobs and is so exciting, and it's going to bring this and that. We already have the fracking industry that's going to be using this area to supply Mexico with their fracking development. That's going to be very big. And all of the other industries that want to come here and they see that humongous coal mine there, that hole in the ground, are they going to be encouraged to bring businesses here? I am asking you to pay attention to all of these things and pay attention to our people. Now, we had a terrible flood again last month. And it's never flooded when it hasn't rained here. And it did. It didn't rain here. It rained in Spofford. Why? Because they're clearing that area over there and it's not holding the water and diverting it to where it's supposed to go. They made a huge ditch over there where they provided the construction area. and that ditch is sending that extra water into the Creek, and it flooded again, and those poor people's houses got flooded again. And nobody went out there to help them, you know. Some people took those Republicas to tell the judge that they would help to clear out the Creek. The judge had to remind them that they were suing him and he couldn't do deals with them. He's in litigation. They went over to the commissioner's court to ask the judge and the commissioners not to sign the resolution to asking a favor of Del Rio not to sell them water. And they're suing the judge and asking him for a favor at the same time. I don't understand these people. They're you know, like they have in Mexico the saying, limosneros con garrote, you know, beggars with a club, you know, threatening to sue here, sue there if we don't get this. They got their permit, yes sir, they did. And we're fighting that permit because we feel that people have a right where they live to ask what kind of industry should come into their towns and not be fearful just because the owners are so powerful and rich. Those people are just made out of blood, bone, and tissue, just like us. We shouldn't fear them in this country. We have laws, we have the way that we can make our voice be heard, and we need to show that we fight for our people here. We don't just go for the big, powerful person who we don't know what they're going to do to us. I don't know if you have seen the article on Sunday in the Express News about the Coahuila connection. 4 pages of all the powerful leaders in Coahuila and what they've been doing over here in San Antonio and in the United States. You should go on the expressnews.com. I have the ending section of it and I'm going to be giving it to you right now. I'm going to read it to you. In interviews after his son's killing, Moreira placed blame on narco-empresarios, businessmen with ties to the cartels who allowed the gangs to act with impunity. The Zetas in particular had spread their control to Coahuila's mining sector, Moreira said. The gang, he said, was responsible for a wave of violence that killed tens of thousands in Mexico, many in Coahuila. He said those persons, many of whom are part of society and are well known and who have financial relations with organized crime and who have made their fortunes through them. I've been telling you that these investigations are going on. DEA, FBI, and Internal Revenue Service. Look at the article. It puts fear into anybody who lives in the border areas. These people are coming over here. They're taking advantage of our well-intended leaders and citizens because they don't know them, and they get into trouble later on. And until these investigations are over and these people are cleared or whatever it is, we should be very careful of what we do, because we do know that they owned almost all the mines of coal in the steel industry in Mexico. This is not a simple issue in black and white. I've got permits, I can get going. Sure they do. We're not disputing that. In fact, we're appealing that. We're not ignorant, you know, and we're so glad that, you know, Mr. Kirk has served our nation. We have veterans here, Mr. De La Cerda, Mr. Hernandez. My husband, he served in Vietnam 3 tours, Ranger, active duty, and retired with 28 years of service as a full colonel. And he served in the Border Patrol. He's been serving and serving his country because he loves this country, he loves these people, and he loves Eagle Pass. And he wants to see that we're protected. I went, when I was picking up those letters, to those poor people in Deer Run and Elm Creek and all those poor areas all over the county, and they begged me, do something, please. We're afraid. We don't have an education. We don't know how to do it. And I saw their homes, the ones who lived especially near the railroads, thinking of the 150-car train car full of coal coming through their places. Our houses are finally going to break down. And they talk about insurance. They don't have insurance for all these people. That's just for inside the mine. They don't have money in the United States. It was proven at the last hearing. They have it in Mexico and in the Cayman Islands and heaven knows, Bermuda, whatever it is, you know. So I want to thank you for your attention, and let me pass you these articles, and please look it up in the expressnews.com. Eagle Pass has to be informed about this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Baxter.
It is very, very important.
We use this water quite a bit. Acre foot of water over here, $30 acre foot. California, right now, $2,200 an acre foot. We are blessed to be here. This water is very important. They want to use it to suppress dust coal that will eventually make it down this way. We're going to run into a few problems here. If you stand or go park just walk on top of this overpass over here, and you notice all these bulldozers that are working on the other side into Mexico. They're expecting to go, I don't know, 30, 40, 80 feet down to get the coal out. They're so close to the river. Nobody's thought of this. That river gets flooded and it reroutes towards Mexico. Eagle Pass is going to be left without water because our water intake is on this side of where it's going to run off into Mexico. This is just something I've been working fields for quite a long time. And I mentioned to a couple of people, and said, have you told anybody? I don't want to be the guy that, you know, oh, be careful with this, be careful with that. But you need to look at this. We're going to be left without water if that river happens to get so flooded and it breaks and goes into Mexico. It's going to be rerouted because water will find the lowest point every time. Every time. You cannot control it. We tried. As human beings, we have tried over and over to control water, and it finds a way out. So we need to stand up and look at this, really. I mean, I know a lot of these contracts were made years ago. I think they put the cart in front of the horse. They got ahead of themselves, and it's unfortunate. They spent a lot of money. I have spent a lot of money and lost a lot of money with contractors, this and that, because I got ahead of myself. But it is what it is. We're gonna need water here. There's plenty of cities that are going out of water today. So we need to sit back and look at this. We really do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. We're gonna move on to some other matters that are not so relevant to the issue at hand that the community has mentioned. So if those who'd like to be excused, by all means, feel free.